Take a moment to close your eyes and just sense how your eyes are sitting in your skull right now. Most of the time we think about our eyes as just the part that shows, but your eye is actually as big as an apricot sitting there in the cavity of your skull. And how you use that eye tells people what you're thinking all the time. You don't even realize that you're using your eyes as much as you are because, of course, you can't see your own eyes, right? So let's take a moment as you're resting with your eyes closed. And if you opened them, that's okay. Just close them again. And place your palms over your eyes the way I'm demonstrating it here. And just take a moment to let your eyes rest in the black. And just sense for yourself whether you feel like your eyes are actually resting, whether they're looking into the black, whether they're letting the black come in, whether you're even seeing black. And then sense your eyelids. Can you feel that you have an upper lid and a lower lid? Most of us just think about batting our eyelashes, and we think that that's the only lid, but there's two that help us close our eyes. And then take your hands away and very slowly open your eyes and just take in what you see. Maybe you see things to the side of you, to the front of you. So right now you're paying attention and your eyes are reflecting maybe your interest, maybe the light in the room. So your pupils reflect light, how much light is in the room, but also how much interest you have in something. So sometimes people's pupils dilate because they're saying, oh, I'm really available. Interesting little factoid, actually, that in the 19th century, there was this horrible fad. Women realized that when their pupils were really big and black, it made them look available. And so they actually used eye drops of this stuff called belladonna that made their pupils really, really big. Unfortunately, it also made them go blind. But the idea is that your pupils are showing people how interested you are or how clever or manipulative you are based on how those pupils are moving. And of course, you don't have any control over that. You can't make that happen, just like you don't necessarily have control over your irises, which also change color. They reflect kind of what the emotions are that are going on in you. It's more subtle. But again, these are really small things that we sense when we're relating to somebody, but we don't necessarily consciously take in. And then you've got the movement of your eyes, because your eyes are constantly moving. You actually have a little bit of vibration going on in your eyes all the time that we're not conscious of unless we really stop and try to pay attention to that. But your eyes have muscles that allow you to go right and left, up and down, and to the corners. And so, of course, the human animal uses the eyes for scanning all the time. When we're walking, they have found that when we're walking, we don't necessarily just look at people. We're looking at bushes, cracks in the sidewalk, constantly scanning our environment to make sure that we're safe. And so we use those same muscles to express our emotions. So if I, for example, am listening to somebody and they're kind of boring, my eyes will start to maybe roll, and they say that that's kind of a form of contempt or judgment. It also indicates boredom. But what's really interesting is, why do we roll our eyes when we're bored or when we think that somebody's being a jerk? And it's got something to do with when we go to sleep. When you go to sleep, your eyes roll up and then they come apart, right? When you faint, your eyes roll up. So basically it's saying, I'm checking out of this. That's what rolling the eyes does. Of course, if I'm feeling a lot of pleasure, then the eyes start to sink back in the head. Imagine that your eyes could just sink back into your head as if they were being supported back there by pillows or something. And it's like, okay, I'm totally safe. It's good. I can just let my eyes relax. So some of these ideas that I'm sharing with you come from different techniques, different approaches to understanding the emotions, like the emotional body. Or there was also a teacher in the 19th century who did a great deal of study about the eyes and talked about all the different expressions that our eyes have. His name was Francois Delsarte. And he actually had different exercises to help people. He always used the eyes in connection with other parts of the self, because of course your eyes are connected. The expression of your eyes are connected to your seventh cranial nerve, which helps your eyes open and close. And it also therefore governs the way the rest of your body responds to different emotions. So if you have, or maybe you know somebody who walks around with deer in headlights expression, right? That means that somewhere they're carrying in themselves some anxiety, some fear. And of course, our eyes pop out like that when we're afraid because we're being vigilant. Going back to this idea of the human looking at things all the time, a person who has that frozen position, maybe they've had a trauma somewhere, maybe they have an eye problem, but they're pushing the eyeball in a certain way forward, which is the opposite, of course, of this absolutely safe feeling of having the eyelids down and the eyes resting back. You can play with that right now, just feeling how your eyes can push out, which means that your eyelids, both the upper and the lower, are opening to give space. And that's really different from when you bring your eyes in focus in a different way so that you can look angry or concentrated, or even bringing yourself in further like that. So letting yourself feel the experience of your eyes as you're relating to your face. You could see that my face wanted to change right away as I got into those different expressions, because they're all connected via that seventh cranial nerve that governs all of your facial expressions. You know, it's interesting, this man Delsarte actually said that the pupil reflects what's on your mind, the iris reflects what's on your emotional life, and then the whites of your eyes talk about your state, the state of your body, your health. You know, people who have yellowish eyes or bloodshot eyes, we know that they're not in the peak of health. And so you're able to assess a person's entire being just by looking into their eyes. So it's interesting, as actors, they have to actually train their eyes so that their eyes don't betray a mixed emotion or a crossed emotion or an entanglement when they're expressing themselves, because there's so many close-ups. And so a lot of actors actually practice eye exercises in order to be able to have a little bit of control over how they use their eyes. And one of the ways, I mean, this is kind of fun, we learn something called isolations, where you start to learn to move your eyes according to the way you want them to move. And it actually affects the rest of yourself as well. So we could try a couple. There's dozens, literally. But if you are looking right in the center right now, and then send both of your eyes over to the right, as if your eyes were ringing a doorbell over there, and then see if you can bring them right back to the middle, and to the right, and to the middle. And then try it to the left, and to the left, and to the middle. And you'll notice that maybe you do it differently on that side, to the left and to the middle. So you've got that two sets going. Now you take your eyes to the right and see if you can bring both eyes to the middle, and then move them over to the left, and then both eyes to the middle. So that, yes, I know your mother told you not to do this, but it's a great isolation for waking up your eyes and relax. Let your eyes relax. And another way to really help your eyes, believe it or not, is to go in a circle, starting at the top and letting both eyes. You can do this with your eyes closed or open. If you want to relax, you would do it with your eyes closed. If you want to practice actually developing your muscles, you would do it with your eyes open so that you can really look at every part of the room and then bring yourself back to the center. And so because those exercises are a little bit challenging for your eye muscles, you may be feeling a little bit of strain right now. Anytime you feel strain, put your hands over your eyes, close your eyes, feel your breath. Let those eyes sink back down into your skull. Remove your hands. Slowly open your eyes.